You know that moment. You're with her, maybe in the car, maybe on the couch after a completely normal night. She looks like she wants to say something, really say something. But instead she just smiles a little, glances away, and asks some small question that doesn't sound important on the surface. Are you seeing anyone else? So, what are you actually looking for right now? Do you ever think about where this is going? And the room changes. Not dramatically, quietly. You can feel it, that strange emotional pressure in the air, like something real just walked into the room, but neither of you knows whether it's safe to look directly at it. And if you've lived this, you know the thoughts that hit next. What is she really asking? Why does this suddenly feel so serious? Is she catching feelings? What if I say the wrong thing? What if she wants more? What if she already knows I don't? Here's the truth most people miss. When a woman wants more, but is scared you don't feel the same way, she usually won't say it in a clean, obvious, movie scene kind of way. She says it sideways, through hesitation, through mixed signals, through moments that look confusing on the surface, but are actually full of unspoken longing beneath it. So if you've been feeling like she cares more than she's admitting, but you can't quite tell whether she's pulling away or protecting herself, you're not imagining it. You're not bad at reading people, and this is not some game you're failing to decode. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the 7 clearest signs she wants something deeper with you, why fear makes those signs look so indirect, and how to recognize the difference between disinterest and emotional self-protection. Let's get into it. The mindset reframe. Most people believe that when someone wants more, they make it obvious. But the real truth is, when someone wants more and doesn't feel safe, they usually become less obvious, not more. That's what confuses so many people. Because most couples, and most people in relationships, are taught to read love only through confidence. Big gestures, clear statements, bold pursuit. But real emotional attachment doesn't always look bold. Sometimes it looks hesitant. Sometimes it looks awkward. Sometimes it looks like a person whose nervous system is trying to move closer, while also bracing for rejection at the exact same time. And that tension matters. Because when she starts caring deeply, her mind isn't the only thing involved. Her nervous system is reading you before her thoughts can catch up. Your tone, your consistency, how you respond when she gets a little more open, whether you lean in or go vague, whether your presence feels emotionally available or emotionally slippery. That's why what looks like mixed signals is often not manipulation at all. Not drama, not confusion, not someone playing hard to get. It's usually a woman trying to protect her heart without fully shutting down her hope. And here's what nobody explains. When safety leaves a connection, the feelings do not always disappear. They go underground. They come out sideways, through jokes, through subtle questions, through little tests, through moments where she reaches for reassurance without wanting it to look like she needs reassurance. So if you want to read this well, you have to stop asking, is she acting confident? And start asking, where is the longing showing up beneath the surface? And where is the fear interrupting it? That's the frame. And once you see that, these 7 signs start making a lot more sense. 1. She asks small questions that carry big emotional weight. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples miss the biggest moments because they don't sound big when they happen. They sound casual, almost throwaway. A random question over dinner, a late-night text, a joke that doesn't feel fully like a joke. But the deeper truth is this. When she wants more and is afraid you don't, she rarely leads with the full truth. She tests for emotional safety first. Her nervous system is basically saying, I want to know where I stand, but I cannot afford to ask in a way that will humiliate me if the answer hurts. So instead of saying, I'm getting attached to you and I need to know if this is real, she says, so what are you looking for these days? Instead of saying, do I actually matter to you? She says, you're not talking to a bunch of other girls, right? That's not random. That's the emotional version of knocking before opening a door. The disconnecting version sounds like this. She says, so, do you ever think about being in a real relationship right now? And you go, why? You trying to lock me down? With a laugh. The connecting version sounds like this. She says, so, do you ever think about being in a real relationship right now? And you go, honestly, I do. And I'm guessing you're not asking that for no reason. That one response changes everything. Because her brain is quietly registering, he heard what I actually meant. And when you do that, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to force the moment. 2. She gets extra quiet right after a vulnerable moment. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most people in relationships assume that if someone opens up and then gets distant, they must not really be interested. They think, if she liked me, why would she pull back right after we got closer? But the real truth is, closeness can activate fear just as much as distance can, especially when someone has attachment wounds, a history of inconsistency, or a nervous system that has learned that wanting more often leads to pain. So she tells you something real, maybe about her past, maybe about what she's afraid of, maybe about how hard it is for her to trust people. And then afterward, instead of leaning in more, she becomes a little withdrawn, a little harder to read, a little less available for a day or two. Most couples misread that. They think the vulnerability was fake, but usually it was real enough to scare her, like touching a hot stove emotionally. The disconnecting version looks like this. After a deep conversation, she goes a little quiet the next day, and you respond by matching that energy. You get cold, short, detached. Now both of you are protecting yourselves. The connecting version looks like this. After a deep conversation, she goes a little quiet, and you send something simple. Hey, I know we talked about some real stuff yesterday. Just wanted you to know I'm still here. No pressure. Bro, that matters. Because what she feels in that moment is not just, he likes me. It's deeper than that. It's, I didn't scare him away by being real. And that's the shift that turns a connection that feels risky into one that starts to feel safe. 3. She brings up the future, then immediately tries to downplay it. This is where it gets really interesting. Most couples think future talk only counts if it's serious and direct. Big sit-down conversations, labels, plans, milestones. But when she wants more and doesn't know if you're there yet, the future usually shows up in softer ways first. A concert 3 months from now. A joke about a trip. A comment about how you'd get along with her friends. A casual, you'd actually love that place. Then, the second it lands, she pulls back. Lol, never mind. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe. Not that deep. That downplaying is the clue. Because the deeper emotional truth is that she is revealing desire and hiding from the exposure of revealing it. She's turning toward you and retreating in the same breath, not because she's unclear, because she's scared. Not indifference, not inconsistency, not some mind game, but longing colliding with self-protection. The disconnecting version sounds like this. She says, "You'd actually be fun to take on a trip," and you go, "Damn, you got our whole life planned already?" with that slightly mocking tone. The connecting version sounds like this. She says, "You'd actually be fun to take on a trip," and you smile and say, "Honestly, I was kind of thinking the same thing." That is not a communication hack. That is just what emotionally available people do when they notice someone risking a little truth. And here's what changes everything. When you meet her softness, without making her feel foolish for it, she stops feeling like she has to hide every real thing she wants. That's when possibility starts to feel real. 4. She notices the smallest shift in your energy. Here's the part that can be easy to miss. Most people in relationships think someone is too sensitive when they pick up on little changes in tone, texting, eye contact, or attention. But when a woman wants more and feels uncertain about where she stands, her nervous system becomes incredibly alert to inconsistency. Because uncertainty makes people scan, not because they're dramatic, because they're trying to stay emotionally safe. So if your texts get shorter, if your warmth drops even slightly, if you seem distracted when she's talking, she notices, fast, sometimes before you do. And if she likes you more than she's saying, her brain may instantly go to, "There it is. He's pulling away. I knew I shouldn't have cared this much." That's not always rational, but it is very real. It's like a smoke detector that goes off over burnt toast because it has learned to treat any signal as danger. Her attachment system is trying to protect her from drift before drift fully happens. The disconnecting version looks like this. She says, "You seem off. Is everything okay?" And you respond, "I'm fine. You're overthinking." The connecting version looks like this. She says, "You seem off. Is everything okay?" And you respond, "I'm a little distracted today, but it's not about you. I'm glad you asked." Man, that sentence can prevent hours of spiraling. Because most couples do not realize how much repair can happen in 10 seconds when you name what's real, instead of making the other person feel needy for noticing it. And when you do that, she stops feeling like she has to decode every silence and starts feeling your presence as something she can actually lean on. 5. She cares deeply about how you see her. But here's what nobody explains. Most couples assume attraction is mostly about chemistry, flirting, physical tension, shared jokes, and yes, that stuff matters. But when she wants more, the question beneath the surface shifts. It becomes less about, does he like being around me, and more about, does he actually see me? Does he value me? Am I safe to matter here? That's why she may suddenly care a lot about what you think of her choices, her past, her weirdness, her flaws, even the little things she normally laughs off. She's not just trying to impress you, she's trying to locate herself in your emotional world. She might ask, "Do you think I'm too much sometimes?" Or, "Be honest, what was your first impression of me?" Or, "You probably think I'm ridiculous." And buried inside those questions is the real one. If I let you closer, will who I really am still be enough? The disconnecting version sounds like this. She says, "You probably think I'm too much." And you go, "You said it, not me," even as a joke. The connecting version sounds like this. She says, "You probably think I'm too much." And you go, "No, I think you care deeply, and I actually like that about you." That lands, because her inner voice is saying, "He's not just tolerating me, he gets me." Most people in relationships underestimate how healing it is to feel accurately seen. Not idealized, not managed, not kept at arm's length, just seen. And that's when your connection stops feeling performative and starts feeling like somewhere both of you can exhale. 6. She pulls away right after things start feeling good. This one confuses almost everyone. Most couples believe pulling away means losing interest. End of story. But the real truth is that for someone who is scared of wanting more, good moments can feel just as destabilizing as bad ones. Because now there's more to lose. A great date, a long hug, a real conversation, an unexpectedly tender night. Sometimes those are the exact moments that trigger retreat, because now the connection is no longer hypothetical. It's becoming real. And real is vulnerable. Real can hurt. So after a moment of genuine closeness, she becomes slower to reply, a little more reserved, maybe even a little colder than usual. Most people read that as a sign to detach, but often what's happening beneath the surface is, "I liked that more than I meant to. I need to regain control before I get hurt." It's scar tissue, not a wall. Scar tissue, built slowly from old pain that never got fully repaired. The disconnecting response is predictable. You feel her pull back, so you mirror it. You think, "I'm not chasing anyone." Now both of you are standing 3 feet apart emotionally, pretending not to care who moved first. The connecting response is different. You notice the shift and say, "Hey, no pressure, but I've liked where this has been going. If you got in your head a little, that's okay. I just want to be clear with you. Not chasing, not demanding, not pretending you don't notice. Just steady presence." That's maturity. That's what it looks like when someone has learned to love without abandoning themselves. And when you do that, she stops feeling like closeness is the beginning of loss and starts feeling like closeness might actually be something she can survive. 7. She keeps turning toward you in small, consistent ways. And this is the sign that matters most. Most people in relationships look for intensity, grand confessions, big emotional scenes, some undeniable proof. But when a woman wants more and is terrified you don't feel the same way, the clearest sign is usually not intensity. It's consistency. She keeps coming back. She sends the meme. She checks in about your day. She remembers the tiny detail you mentioned once. She circles back after tension. She finds little reasons to stay connected, even when she could easily go cold and protect herself instead. That matters more than people realize. Because attention is one thing. Consistent turning toward is another. It means there is something real there, something becoming, something unspoken but alive. Not louder conversations, not dramatic declarations, not forcing "what are we" talks every 5 minutes, but a steady pattern of emotional bids that say, "I'm here. I'm still here. Are you going to meet me here too?" The disconnecting version looks like this. She keeps reaching in small ways, and you enjoy it, but you stay vague. You take the care without naming it. You let her invest while giving her nothing solid to stand on. The connecting version looks like this. You notice the pattern and say, I see how consistent you are with me. I don't take that lightly. And if I'm honest, I feel this getting deeper too. That sentence is clarity. That sentence is kindness. Because most couples do not fall apart from lack of feeling. They fall apart from lack of courage around the feeling. And when you finally meet consistent care with honest presence, that's when your partner stops feeling like a problem to interpret and starts feeling like a person to come home to. Close. So, if you recognized her in these signs, don't reduce this to a checklist. This is bigger than that. This is about learning how to read what people feel beneath the surface, instead of only reacting to how fear makes them behave on top of it. It's about becoming someone who can recognize longing without punishing it, who can meet vulnerability without mocking it, and who can create safety instead of more confusion. That changes you. Because when you internalize this, you stop treating connection like a guessing game and start showing up with the kind of emotional clarity that makes real intimacy possible. You become more steady, more present, more honest. And people feel that before you've even said much at all. These aren't just signs she wants more. They're invitations for you to decide whether you're willing to become the kind of partner who makes deeper love feel safe to step into. Because in the end, the strongest relationships are not built by the people who feel the most. They're built by the people who know how to make those feelings safe enough to be spoken. If this hit something real for you, drop a comment with the word clarity so I know this kind of content is helping. And if you want more videos on attachment, emotional availability, and how to stop the cycles that quietly wreck connection, subscribe and stay close. Real intimacy begins the moment someone stops hiding what they feel, and the other person proves it's safe not to.